Hi there. I'm going to show you how to set up my beanbag poser. I see a lot of people struggling with keeping their blankets nice and smooth during their sessions and always asking for how do I edit out the wrinkles. And it's one of those things that it saves a lot of time if you get it right in camera. It was something that I struggled with for a really long time. I switched to a PVC backdrop stand about not quite a year ago, and it's made such a big difference in my workflow. It has a relatively low cost. There's a lot of great stands out there that are really pricey, and it's just not in the budget for a beginner. So I wanted to show you how I set my beanbag up. I just got a new square poser from Studio Baby. It has side pockets, like vertical pockets. It has them along the top, but I don't use those, and I'll show you why when I set it up. But it's I'm excited to start using it. I just got it this afternoon. So I used to have one of the round donut posers, and it works really good with this setup too. Nice and wrinkle free. I just wanted something with a little bit more surface area going forward. So, and something this I can move my whole stand. So that's really good for natural light photographers. I use studio lights, but I have had a few times where I have wanted to just position my bag just a little bit differently. And I haven't been able to because I've got the baby on there nice and positioned right, but I can't move it because the stand and the donut poser were moving independently. So this overcomes that. So I layer my beanbag with some old throws. They're just backdrops I don't use anymore. That makes sure that when you're tucking in your receiving blankets or you're posing beans underneath, if you have those, that it's still just nice and smooth. It isn't like a big lump underneath. And that really helps a lot. These are pretty good and thick. Next, if I was setting up for a session, I would put down like puppy pee pads. You can get them at the dollar store, or I can get them at the dollar store. So, or you can order them on Amazon. And I would just put it, along the front here, so I'm not changing these blankets partway through a session if they're soaked. So then I have several, just like two, I guess it's 1.5 meters of like just a light beige fabric, and I layer that underneath. If I'm doing something sheer, I will pick a color that goes with that. So if I'm doing a sheer purple, I'll put a purple underneath. But for the most part, I find the light beige works really good, especially under something like this white. So you'll be able to see that you can see through to the brown. So I would have 2 layers, but I clip them on all the same way. So I just clip my side guys nice and tight. The clips are just from Home Depot, and you can buy them in a big pack. Canadian Tire has nice ones as well. So you just nice and tight, just always pulling it as tight as you can. This fabric is nice and stretchy. I do have a few backdrops that don't have quite as much stretch in them, and this technique works for those as well. I had a few backdrops that I couldn't use when I was just using the crossbar and the regular black backdrop stands that look like a light stand, and then the circle beanbag. It didn't work. I just could never get them smooth. So then I clip to the side. And across the top. Just always pulling it nice and tight. So a nice I like this angle because I shoot with a 35, so I just need a little more length to get that nice depth of field. But what you'll notice is the drop isn't really touching the beanbag. It's just going across. So when you set the baby down, it just pulls it down and in, and it's just further stretching it so that any little wrinkles, they're working themselves out. And you're not worrying about editing those. So like the old way when these weren't there, like you can see them, they just bubble up everywhere when you're placing the baby. When you start jamming things under, it gets wrinkly. But I can tuck the beans under and it's just nice and smooth. You're not getting wrinkles everywhere. So that's really saved me because I'm not spending hours editing the backdrops in sessions. I'm just focusing on the baby. I don't hardly touch the backdrops at all anymore. Sometimes in the top corner, and that's just a quick clone job. But it looks so much better and it's so easy. And for so long, I put off buying a new backdrop stand because I just didn't think it was worth it. I thought I can fix that. But it gets tiring fixing things like that over and over and over. You know, I do about 30 photos a session, 30 different photos a session. And to edit backdrops on all of those, that's a lot of time. So I hope that that helps someone starting out. Like I said, it took me a long time really to commit to that. And I'll show you this quick. Like this whole thing moves together. I'm not worrying about the beanbag and the top. So for natural light photographers, it's perfect. So yeah, I hope that helps someone. If you have any other questions, let me know and I'd be happy to help. Thanks.